Hello and welcome to Gaia GPS. This is where we come pull cards for the Astro week ahead. We've got a big week of shifts ahead of us. So before I dive in, we're actually going to tell you I'm here with Nicole, Nicole Ullman, and I'm Mimi. Now we're going to dive in. I was ready, like the moon in Aries. We have the moon shifting into Aries on Monday, June 27th. And like the moon, I was like ready to dive in. And speaking of diving in, the first card I have is actually the slowing down card in reverse. My screen's a little dark there, right in that. So the slowing down card in reverse. And what's interesting that's coming up around this is the energy of Aries. Not so much of the energy of diving in, but the energy of the I am with Aries. I pulled the awareness card and I pulled the burden card. I pulled the soulmate card and the building blocks card in reverse, as well as focused intention. And what I'm getting from all of these cards is that this is a time with this moon in Aries, sun in Cancer, to really focus your energy on yourself, on your I am. The soulmate card, along with the building blocks card in reverse, you got the soulmate card too. That's so funny. This connection to me is saying you've got to, like, we always are looking outside for the one. I want the one. I want that energy. I want that to match me. But the building blocks card in reverse is saying there's something cracked in the foundation, and this foundation is part of you. This goes along with the burden and the awareness card. This crack in the foundation may be in your thinking that anything that you need is outside of you. And while I will agree that it's really nice to have things that are in alignment outside of you, this energy saying, peel your awareness back. Where are you placing that burden maybe on others to fill in for you? And where can you show up and be that soulmate for yourself? Where can you love yourself? How can you bring energy, focused intention, energy into these wounded places in you? And we're going to get into this, but we also have Chiron going retrograde on Monday, along with this moon in Aries. So it's a really great time to dig in and find it in yourself. Cancer energy can go go a lot of ways. One of the things I notice with Cancer is that Cancer is like, let me take care of you. Let me nurture you. Let me care for you. I will martyr myself for you. And this moon in Aries is saying, pull it back in, take this nurturing energy, and show up for yourself first. Nicole?
Yeah, I have the soulmate card as well, but I have it in reverse. And the other cards I have intensity, I have the traveling card, I have the new vision, and I have the politics card in reverse. So this is what I'm getting. This is the message that's coming through me, is be careful of your attachments to the labeling of things, like soulmate. Everybody thinks this soulmate is this amazing, like out of worldly experience of these two souls coming together, and it's beautiful and it's harmonious. But what I'm getting is, with soulmates, it means that our souls have incarnated together, and probably many times. What that tells me is there's karma there. And so when there is karma, it can bring up intensity. It could bring up fear. It can bring up old wounding. And we project these stories onto each other because, oh, our souls know each other. It's going to be great. Oh, our souls know each other. We have shit to deal with, is what I'm saying. And so if you have these mirrored these mirrored people that are coming in with old things to tell you, old stories, old wounds to be healed, it might not be rainbows and butterflies. It might push you to a limit, or it might push you to get out of your comfort zone. But thank God for them. You can either go into victim and get frustrated with your old lessons, or you can say, thank God they're a gift. They're coming to me to push me out of my comfort zone. They're pushing me to heal my past wounds from other relationships in this life or past. And it's time to really show up for them. Like I said, I have the intensity card. So it might feel really intense. That Aries energy is really intense. You got to show up and do the work with this energy. Aries is very much the doer doing the doing. So do what you got to do in this energy. And realize, because a lot of times with this traveling card, it could be physical traveling, but it also is making us aware where we want to see a destination. God, I just want to meet that soulmate and everything is going to live happily ever after. And knowing I'm in a soulmate relationship, probably twin flame, to be honest with you, but definitely a soulmate relationship. And I've been with him for 12 years. Let me tell you, the work doesn't stop. The work continues, and it gets better and better and better as we go. But the work, there's always something to heal or wound, or heal a wound, or come together in different amount of intimacy. But so I have this politics card in reverse. Realize that you're on this journey. There is no destination. You're always on a constant journey of pulling the masks off and getting more intimate with yourself and learning new things about yourself and learning your edges. And you might get pushed up against an edge, but what's going to happen is you're going to birth yourself out of the old wounding and get a new perspective of yourself and a new vision, and maybe even a new vision of what you think a mate really is. This is just a partner. If you really want a mate, like a soulmate like that, you're going to have to dig in, do the hard work, but really what you're going to find is deeper amounts of intimacy with yourself and with that other person. And that is true connection. So be careful of what you think this soulmate fun relationship is going to be. Soulmates are hard work. And friends too. I mean, me and Mimi, we're soulmate friends. And I have a lot of soulmate friends, but we dig in, we do the work together, we push each other, we call each other out. I wouldn't have it any other way. That's just the way it is. And, they're the best friends, but they're not, it's not always shiny and we're not always feeling great.
I have to just say, I love that I can turn to Nikki when I'm not feeling great and she's like, bam, in the kindest way possible.
Don't do it too harsh though. I try to
go right to the heart of the matter. And I like that, you're like, this is your thing. It's good. Those are true soulmate relationships. You're preaching to the choir, lady. So I think this goes really perfectly with the next energy we're working with. We have Chiron going retrograde on Monday as well. Chiron is at 25 degrees in Pisces. We'll be retrograding all the way back through 21 degrees Pisces, and will not go direct till the beginning of December. So Chiron is the wounded healer. It helps us deal with our wounding. I've got some fascinating cards for this energy. I'm going to start with this card. I'm going to start with the maturity card. And this is a card of knowing your wholeness and knowing your worth. And I think one of the big lessons through this Chiron retrograde is finding the gifts within your wounds, within the cracks within you, within those pieces of you that you like to hide away. Can you find and experience what it's there for you for? Because I do have that belief. The universe is always working for us. I pulled the celebration card with this. I pulled the celebration card. I pulled the clinging to the past card, ordinariness and experiencing. You've got to recognize these wounds, these battle scars, these past life issues that are going to be surfacing through this time are here to help you. Sometimes we reject the things that need healing because we're like, I don't like this, I don't want this. And you have to recognize, this is something that one of my teachers told me, is like, everything that you're experiencing is part of your healing path. Everything that you are experiencing is healing you. Everything that you are experiencing is part of your wholeness, your holiness. And so that's going to be a huge leap forward. Stop resisting, rejecting these past things or any current wound things that come up for you. What is it asking you to experience about yourself? What is it showing you about yourself? I've got a change in the wind in reverse. I've got Mary Magdalene. Change in the wind, it says like there may be sudden reversals coming up, old things coming up from the past. Pay attention to these patterns. All these retrograde energies that come up for us, they show us that our patterns that we've been going over and time again, lifetime and lifetime again. Offer yourself and them conditional love in it and recognize What is it here showing you? And how is it asking you to shift your patterns? Because we see these things, we experience these things time and time again so that we can evolve and shift these patterns. The universe is happening for you. It's not happening to you. And so this Chiron retrograde, although it may, stir up some shit, this is for you. Nikki?
Of course, you put it over to me when I throw a goldfish in my mouth.
I know. Sorry.
It was all good timing. Why not? I'm like snacking because my stomach's growling at me. Okay. So this is really interesting energy that I'm getting, and I'm gonna go, and I'm piggybacking off of Mimi a bit. So it's gonna be a process. So I have the patience card in the present in reverse. So this is kind of like a backwards gestational process. Like, it's like you already went through some of this gestational process, but we're gonna run back over some healing, some old lessons. And the lessons are gonna be around, okay, hold on, they're giving me specific. So what I'm getting is, I think there might have been a time in your past where you followed your heart and you thought that it was the right thing to do, but it didn't turn out exactly the way you thought it was going to turn out. So there's a part of you that has a wounding about trusting your heart and really going for that. I know women who, and I know people, and I've made decisions in my life where I was following my heart and I still don't quite understand what the meaning was. I just talked to it about Mimi, but I'm gonna do a scenario about like a woman following their heart and moving across country because they felt like moving across country for a man was the right idea, but the relationship didn't work out. My mom did this. Sorry, Mom, I'm throwing you under the bus. But she went to New Jersey to follow this guy, and it didn't work out. But then she ended up getting a job afterward. And things kind of started making sense about a year later. Well, I know people who did this who didn't have that kind of closure. They didn't know what that was about. Sometimes they went back home. So there's some old wounding around following your heart, and it didn't pan out in the way that you expected it. And so it shook our world, because it might have been a belief that you've had of like, follow your heart, everything will be great. But follow your heart, holy shit, I ended up in like this weird dead end and I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm still kind of healing about something like that. I did a road trip and I still don't understand what the heck it was about. So this is healing your heart, because of that, you might feel like you need to guard your heart a little bit, or maybe you shouldn't follow that heart again. But the real lesson, so I have this message in a bottle in reverse. The real lesson is to to notice red flags a little quicker. And also I'm getting this regeneration card and the thunderbolt in reverse. So what I'm getting is there's a rebirth of this, and maybe a new vision out of it or something of this nature. And the reason why I wanted to do the relationship one is because I got the Lovers. So this might be you followed your heart and followed a man or followed a woman, but it wasn't exactly what it is. And it's about reading the red flags and where you show up in your own wounding. And maybe you're not following your heart, but you're following the wounded child. Because the inner child is broken up into two pieces in my mind. We have the wounded child, and we also have this beautiful, like, inspirational child, the innocence within us. And the innocence wants to believe that everybody has the same purity as we have in their heart. But the wounded child is going through patterns where there's still wounding within you. So what I'm getting, especially in this Piscean energy, is that we have to heal something in our wounded child. So we understand that maybe not everybody's as pure as us, and that makes us stronger. But it doesn't have to mean you guard your heart. It just means we have to parent our wounded child a little better. When is it safe to express ourselves? And when is it time to listen a little deeper to the real message and not follow our wounded child, but still keep the sense of integrity to our purity? I know that sounds a little confusing because it is. It's Piscean energy. It's confusing. It is what it is. The heart wants what it wants. And sometimes in this reality, in this 3D reality, the Piscean energy is like, why isn't it grounding in reality? Is because this reality coming from a Virgo plays on different rules than the etherical energy. And sometimes the soul has this connection with somebody, but on this physical existence, they're doing some karma of like sociopathic stuff or something weird, and you gotta wait, and you just can't have them, and you gotta heal, and you gotta let it go, and you gotta accept it for what it is in this moment. And I'm kind of like doing this, but that's Pisces. Circle fish.
This is the cycles, you know, and this is what I think the retrograde does. It circles us back around. And I really do think, you know, what you're saying about these relationships too, I think a lot of this stuff too, I think many of us have, you know, also have heart wounding from past life relationship stuff that still is like on us. And I think that can really come up through this time as well. So
yeah, especially with Chiron. But what's good is the universe, like Mimi said, it's not here to hurt you, it's here to support you. And so whatever you're getting that's coming back around for you, you can, me and Mimi are gonna do a whole thing on this, is you have a choice. You can either fall into a victim cycle and feel victim of this again, or you can show up, stay present, connect to the heart, and know and parent that part of yourself and say, it's going to be okay. I see the red flags this time. I see the red flags, and we're going to show up in that maturity, and we're going to show up differently. We're going to still be able to open our hearts, but we're going to be mature about this. Because we have Jupiter still in Virgo on the other side going, we have to live in reality, guys, but we also have to, this is also a reality, this Piscean energy, and this is where we got to heal. So it's both of these energies coming together of like, remember this reality, we still have to heal these old, untended to karmas and emotional wounding. I went long, but I mean, they're being very specific with me today.
oh, it's great. It's great. And Chiron retrograde, I think, is a major thing. So good. So our next thing that we have Wednesday. A bunch of shift is happening on Wednesday. We have the moon shifting into Taurus on Wednesday. We have Mercury shifting into Cancer on Wednesday. And we have Mars going direct on Wednesday. So we're going to start with the energy of the moon shifting into Taurus because that happens first. And the card I want to bring up first is actually the Wisdom of the Oracle card, A Fork in the Road in reverse. And I've got that with Bridget, Don't Back Down. And I've got the Trust card in reverse. And what I'm getting from these three cards is that there is a decision that you need to make. You're going to have to be like a Taurus and make a decision and decide and like own something. And this may be, I actually have the healing card. This may be related to like what Nikki was just saying. This may be related to some past life stuff. This may be related to some relationship stuff. But there's some change in the air. And you have to make a decision. You've been holding yourself kind of stagnant. And this may go along with the energy of Mars going direct. You may have not known exactly which way to move. And the energy that I'm getting now is like, it's time to trust yourself. And it's time to take a step and honor that heart energy. Again, I'm going to, take that back. Listen to what Nikki said again. You've got to like honor yourself, honor your maturity, listen to your body. But it's time. You've made that decision. You've molded over in your head. You've got to trust yourself. You've been holding yourself outside of something that you really want. So, but the thing I want to mention with this is that I do have the healing part with this. So I feel like whatever it is, wherever you're going to take kind of this, it kind of feels like a leap of faith energy, where you're going to take a stand in this energy, this will be ultimately healing for you. So be willing to trust yourself. I've got the trust in reverse. But find a way to trust yourself. There's something I always have loved And so people, or my teacher, somebody would ask, like, well, do you trust yourself? And he'd be like, no, definitely not. I don't trust myself. And then he'd be like, well, do you trust the universe? And then everybody'd be like, yes, I trust God. I trust the universe. And he's like, no, you don't. If you don't trust yourself, you don't trust the universe, because the universe is you. You are the universe. And so it's time to let that energy come in and trust and honor yourself and go back into the energy. Everything's working out for you. Everything's helping you. I think what gets confusing is we do get this mind energy going and churning, and it gives us all the options and all the possibilities, and they're like, well, this could happen, and this could happen, and this could happen, and this could happen. This is what the mind does. But ultimately, when you feel into the core of yourself, into the heart of yourself, but I think it's even lower. I think it's like into the gut, into like your root, into your solar plexus. When you feel into those energies, there's a place in you that knows. And this is asking you, this Taurus energy, which is like kind of that, I don't know, stubborn, take a stand energy, it's asking you to take a stand for yourself. Nikki?
Yeah, I agree. And so this is what I'm getting with this Taurus energy. Now we have Chiron retrograde in Pisces, so it's going to bring up some stuff. Now it's going to be retrograde for how long?
All the way through December, the beginning of December.
So these are just things starting to come up. But this, because we're having so much going on, so many shifts on Wednesday, for the moon and Taurus is what I'm getting is there's a relationship that you may have had and you're still kind of mulling over it and you can't really understand. You're not really understanding what had happened. So I have the past lives in reverse. The reason why you don't understand some of the interaction with it, because it might have felt like out of worldly when you first got together, and then all of a sudden something went a little weird. It was because of a karma. So the projections of that relationship, or this dream that you had of this relationship, this fantasy, you ended up going into a fantasy with it, and that came crashing down, and you felt betrayed by this. Well, I feel like this is the time to let it go, and it's a time to find a blank slate. And I think I have the leg up card, meaning you're going to have some help. Somebody's going to support you through this or give you a different perspective. And this is, and I will give you a leg up right now. I'll tell you how to get out of it. So if you still have this weird unresolved issue, or what I'm getting, a lack of closure or a lack of understanding of why this happened or what it was about, I'll tell you it right now. It was karma, so some of it you're not going to understand. But because it's Taurian energy, I have the creator card in reverse. The way out, I'm giving you the key. I'm handing it to you right now. The key to get yourself out of this betrayal or feeling of being betrayed is taking responsibility for your 2%. It's not the most popular key in the world, but let me tell you something. I've done it. It sucks and it's humbling and you eat crow a little bit, but you got to look at yourself and see how you're creating this for yourself right now. And yes, it might be past life, but you have power in this moment to see what your pattern of behavior is, why you're bringing in the drama, why you're bringing in the betrayal, why that was. Maybe it was just your expectations and your need for a fantasy relationship or something of this nature. A really good way to do it, if you can't get it in the mind, because the mind might be like, well, that's not my fault. They did that to me and blah, 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 blah. The way to get underneath it, we got to go into a subconscious place with it, that the Taurus needs to be the doer doing something, because the Taurus likes to have an action step and it likes to make it manifest here on this physical reality. So I would suggest the Ho'oponopono, because that will get you underneath it. And so all you do is you go into, even if you can't logically see what your 2% is, I promise you, you have 2% in this relationship, in this dynamic that is going on here. What you do is you take that relationship or take that person and you with it, not them. Don't try to fix them. Let's heal the relationship. Imagine it in your hands and just say, even if I can't see it, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry for whatever my 2% is. Please forgive me, or I forgive you. Thank you for being a part of my process. In some weird way, I love you. And you might start cleaning it to the point where you might get the, oh, I keep showing up that way. I keep showing up that way. I don't put a boundary up, or I don't. That might be your case right there. You might not be putting boundaries up. So if that's the case, then you can start seeing it clearer and moving forward with a blank slate and be able to create something new out of the void instead of this old round and round cycle or pattern. If you need help with it, because I got the leg up, book a session with me. Coach NicoleUllman.com. I can help you see what that is, and it might be hard truth, but that might be exactly what you need to let go of this old cycle pattern and victimhood story that you might be stuck in.
Perfect. Next, really interesting. I feel like a lot of these things are really feeding into relationships this week. We next have Mercury shifting into Cancer, and I've got more of this relationship stuff coming up. So I'm going to start with Wisdom of the Oracle. I got Peace in reverse, and I got from the goddesses Isol, Undying Love, and from Osho, I got Integration in reverse. I got Sorrow. I got the Rebel in reverse. I've got Isolation, and then I've got the Master and Traveling. And what I'm getting in this is, again, the energy of coming back to yourself, in and through yourself. Mercury is really interesting. Mercury, rules the mind. It's really about connection. It's like, Mercury in Cancer connects the mind to the emotions. And when the mind and the emotions connect, it can be a beautiful symphony or it can be a hodgepodge of dissonant sounds. And a lot of times what happens with Mercury in Cancer is that the feelings come up. We have Cancer energy. So all these feelings are coming up. This is the last day of Mars retrograde. We've got, Chiron and Neptune retrograde. We've got Saturn still retrograde. Stuff is coming up to the surface. And so we have these feelings. And then our mind tries to interpret the feelings. And the mind is going nuts, interpreting all these feelings that are coming up. I think this is reminding us in this energy, love is love. It lasts forever. If it is love, it lasts forever. Find your peace in that. And then instead of reaching out and trying to fix these outside relationships, these outside, like Nikki said earlier, soulmate things, get inside with you. This integration card is, and with the Rebel in reverse, I'm feeling like there's a part of the masculine in all of us that's needing to come forward and step up for us in another way. The Sorrow card, I think there's a part of the feminine energy within us, the feminine feeling energy within us that's not being allowed to express because we haven't backed it up with the masculine energy within us. And so this may be, I think this can go for any gender listening to this, but, we may be asking the men in our lives, whether it's our fathers, our brothers, our male friends, our partners, our sons, our dogs, the masculine energy out there to step up for this. And this is saying, you're not going to find the peace out there. You're not going to master this lesson by looking outside. You've got to find the integration of these energies within yourself. You've got to be able to stand up for yourself and hold yourself in this balance. I did pull the Traveling card with this. And so this is opening. Like, how does the masculine show up in and through you? I think a lot of us show up one way with the masculine and don't show up in, I feel like, the emotional way we need the masculine to show up and be like, it's okay to feel. It's okay to go through this process. It's okay to move through this piece alone. I think, some of us feel guilty when we have the emotions coming up. And so this is saying, integrate, show up for yourself, stand up for yourself. It may not be all sunshine and rainbows initially. It may not be peaceful initially. This card is saying in reverse, this time will pass. This too shall pass. So show up for yourself, integrate what's coming up. That's, I think, the best way of like utilizing the masculine energy is showing up for yourself in this energy and being like, it's okay, I've got you. What do you need to do to feel your way through this? Because it's all okay. And this love is eternal.
Yeah, I think there is definitely an opportunity for a new beginning in the way that you show up. And what I'm getting with this Mercury Cancer energy is, here we go. I'm going to go into the 2% thing a little more. I have the orphaned card. It's time to deal with your abandonment issues. It is what it is. We all have them at least a little bit. And that is kind of the Adam and Eve story. It's like the original sin thing, but then we get cast out. It's like this original abandonment issue. We are not fully connected. We don't remember everything. And so sometimes we feel orphaned on this planet. We feel alone on this planet. And we can feel isolated on this planet. We have to deal with our own abandonment issues. And I'm going to tell you, it's probably also coming from either A, something karmic, or B, even from your childhood. Where have you felt abandoned? Where do you feel like you abandon yourself? That is the truth. Now, I have the truth be told. You have to be really honest with yourself and look back at your past relationships and notice when your abandonment issue is self-sabotaging relationships because you're scared, because you're scared to be abandoned. This is where the key is. This is the 2%. Where does the wounded child, the self-saboteuring behavior take over, the conditioned behavior take over, and by accidentally, subconsciously, self-sabotages? If you can get really quiet and still and allow yourself to really be honest with yourself and then be honest with other people and maybe even apologize for going, oh shit, oh my God, I self-sabotaged that. And we don't want to see that. We want to see it as a betrayal because that victim can survive itself if it's not your fault. But there is some sort of orphaned abandonment issue taking play here. Then underneath it all, I have this playfulness card in reverse. And that means there's that wounded inner child. The playfulness card in reverse is the wounded child. Notice your abandonment issue. Notice your abandonment issue. And then speak to it. You might want to either speak to someone you trust or maybe communicate it with a loved one. Maybe you're scared to tell your partner like some sort of abandonment thing that you had. But for whatever reason, I have truth be told, so it needs to be communicated either with yourself or to someone else, or you need to go to therapy. Or get a life coach, get a deeper life coach that knows how to process. Not all of them do, but there's good ones out there. I'm a good one. I know how to process. So, you do need to speak to it in some way, sorry.
Awesome. I love that. That's perfect. Next, we have Mars direct. Woohoo! Mars is going direct Wednesday afternoon. Mars has been retrograde all the way since April. But I have to mention, even though Mars is now direct, Mars will still be in Scorpio all the way through the beginning of August. So we still have another month plus of this Mars energy, Mars and Scorpio energy to work through. However, we're getting a leg up. Not a leg up. I don't have that card actually. But we have, look at this, vast energy, independence. Your independence is a foundation for your strength and success. I've got here and now. So it's like we're ready to begin forward, to begin to move forward again. And I got some interesting cards from Osho with this. I think the first card that I have that I want to show is the control card in reverse. And I think now it's like, now that Mars is retrograde, it doesn't mean, or not retrograde, sorry. Mars is direct. It doesn't mean like go all, got this word, batshit control crazy with this energy. Things are going to be moving forward, but there's still some major lessons. I've got the morality card here. I've got the guilt card here. I got the laziness card in reverse, and I've got the conditioning card. There's still some major lessons that we're going to be learning. Go forward with the things that you learned through this Mars retrograde, which, like I was telling Nikki earlier, I really feel like this Mars retrograde has been reminiscent of Saturn and Scorpio, bringing up some of those old shadowy lessons from our root chakra, from our foundation. Just because it's direct, it does not mean that these lessons are going to go away. So keep showing up, keep shifting your aim. We're moving forward. We're going to be moving into Mars and Sagittarius, like I said, in August. So we're still adjusting our arrow. We're still looking at our desires, shifting our thoughts, our conditioning, morals. I'm not even showing you the right word. The conditioning, the morals, our guilt around our desires. And we're letting go of trying to control our desires to such a peak. Instead, seek to understand them rather than control them. What are they coming from? What is the true motivation within them? What is their part? I've got the we are the world. What is the part of your desires in the wholeness of the world? This is your time to still, play detective. Scorpio is the detective. Still play detective and get in there to that energy rather than repress, explode, which, the Scorpio energy can absolutely do. Honor yourself. Be playful with this energy. That's just playful energy. And recognize this energy as it, surges forward, still has the lessons, but it's meant to carry you on another piece of your soul path. Nicole?
Yeah, so this is interesting because this is something, and I want you to just be aware of, is if some things that are coming up, maybe even from a couple years ago, something that you thought you processed, like, oh, I thought I processed that daddy issue, or I thought I processed all of that relationship. Well, you might get little peaks of it that are still left, like those little flakes or splinters. Like, oh, I still have a splinter there. Shoot. You got the plank out, but there's still a couple splinters. And so because of that, because, it is that Scorpio energy, it's like, if you don't get all the little splinters out, it's still in there. At least just a little bit, but it's still affecting you. I have a rebirth, and I have a breakthrough. So there will be a breakthrough, and it's, maybe some of these woundings, you healed most of it, but some of that wounding or of that experience has got you, I have the miser card, still guarding that heart. That betrayal still took its turn, took its toll on you, sorry. And because of that, if there's any little splinters still left of unforgiveness of the situation or the people involved or even yourself, you can't fully move on. But don't allow this energy, if it pops back up, just bubbles up to the surface, don't let it freak you out. You're not going to get it in the way that you got it last time. It's not the log that's going to smack you upside the head. It's splinters. Splinters are annoying, but they're not going to knock you out and put you in a coma. You have to go and get the tweezers and and diligently pluck them out. But moment to moment, do them as they arise. You don't have to go looking for them. They'll come up so you can experience your breakthrough. And if you feel overwhelmed, because you might get right into that feeling of, oh no, I hope this doesn't fully take me out again, just breathe. It's not going to take you out. You just have to go, like I said, think of it as splinters. You have little splinters that you still have to do. And you can get, your tweezers will be forgiveness. There's still forgiveness that needs to be done around the situation, the other people involved, and most importantly, forgiveness of yourself. For whatever reason, for getting yourself in that situation or not saying exactly what you wanted to say or blah, 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 blah. Just forgiveness. And if you need help with forgiveness, call upon the Christ energy. He Jesus mastered forgiveness on this planet, on that cross. And that's what he teaches us. So if you need a little help of getting into the vibration of forgiveness, call upon him and he'll help you clear that space.
Love that. All right, so next we have the moon shifting into Gemini on Friday. I want to mention that's happening at 4:44 a.m. Pacific time, which I think is really interesting, especially in light of the cards that I pulled. I pulled the green Tarot card, Start Delegating. I pulled Serendipity and Exchanging Gifts. And the Osho cards are interesting along with this too. I'm going to show you Beyond Illusion, Schizophrenia, Existence, and Creator. And what I'm getting, I actually got these in reverse. I'm getting from this energy, don't go at this alone. With the moon shifting into Gemini, we're moving into the dark of the moon before the new moon in Cancer. The new moon in Cancer will actually be next Monday. And so the dark of the moon can be a really heavy time traditionally, and especially as we have the dark of the moon moving into this Cancer energy, especially as we have Mercury in Cancer bringing that balance of mind and feelings, and with the moon, with the moon shifting into Gemini, again, we've got the mind and feelings coming up. What I'm getting from these cards is like, get out of the illusion that you have to do this alone. You are not here alone on this planet. You are here with many others. You are here with angels, God, universe, ascended masters, teachers, friends, family, plants, trees, animals. You don't have to do this alone. And neither do they. The Exchanging Gifts card and the Serendipity card, what I'm getting from this is that ask for help. Ask the universe for help in moving through this energy, in finding balance between your thoughts and emotions. Reach out to a good friend. I have like this set of friends, like stuff's going wrong. I'm like, oh my God, my mind's going crazy. Nikki's one of them. And I'm like, help. And it's like this reset. Like they just like take me back to my center, really, which is funny because that's kind of like that schizophrenia card. They take me back here when I'm like spinning out of control. Heart, mind, heart, mind. Start delegating. Ask the universe for help. On this card, it says, ask others, including me, Green Tara, to help you instead of trying to do this by yourself. And this is what we're here to do. The Exchanging Gifts card, that's the card of giving and receiving, the law of giving and receiving. And I think the Serendipity card is saying, if you ask for help, help will show up. I was listening to an Abraham last night, and it was really cute because there was an instance of this. She was asking about unicorns because I was like, I want to see what Abraham has to say about unicorns and dragons. So I'm listening to this, and she's like, you know, this man, I was walking my dog, this poodle, and this pack of dogs showed up and were, you know, growling at us, threatening us. And she's like, please, universe, help. And this man came out of nowhere and was like, you know, all you have to do is like throw a few rocks and they'll go away. They'll know their role. And then he just disappeared. She's like, you know, was he an angel? What was he? And Esther was like, he was your unicorn. But that's the way the universe works. Be willing to ask for help. You do not have to go at this alone. Gemini energy loves that connection. Make that connection. I feel like we've done a lot of inner work through this week. You know, if you follow along with, you know, what we had to do, now it's time to reach out to take you through the process of the darkening of the moon. Nikki?
Well, I think. I'm
Oh, are you acting on my side?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just.
Okay. So what I get is I got the orphan card again, abandonment issues, and I got the leg up. So there's what Mimi was saying. I mean, it's exactly what we were saying here is maybe because you've gotten betrayed in the past, you're going to have to come up against an issue where you can't do it alone. And that you have to reach out and you have to heal that isolation feeling that we like to do, because some part of us thinks that we're the only ones that are going through the darkness and going through our sorrow, or have been betrayed by masks and people with non-good intentions. But I'll be honest with you, we have all been betrayed, and we have all felt like we are better off alone and that we should isolate. But that's not going to help. The leg up is a great thing. The leg up is connection. When we connect with the vibration of the heart. The mind wants to control. The mind wants to organize. The mind wants to label. The mind wants to separate. The mind wants to segregate. Segregate, sorry. And the heart wants to reconnect. So when you ask for help, when you get help, you connect with the same vibration of the heart. There's an amazing thing. One of my mentors wrote a book, and it's called Heart Wisdom, and he has little true factoids in it, and I read this in his book. They put in a petri dish, they put 2 brain cells in a petri dish, and then they put 2 heart cells in a petri dish. The 2 brain cells couldn't communicate, so they ended up dying. They put 2 heart cells in a petri dish, and they started communicating, and it started thriving. It started actually growing. So where you're coming from is very important. You're coming from the mind. You're going to stay in that abandonment mentality. If you come from connection and allow yourself to not feel abandoned and try again and communicate from the heart, you may start thriving again. So just to remember that when, you know, that dark night of the soul comes around, that dark moon comes around, is you can isolate or you can connect. Isolate, connect. And when you connect, you can heal.
Beautiful. I love that. That's gorgeous. And interestingly enough, for our last aspect of the day or the week, which is going to be the moon shifting into Cancer, taking us like into the darkest point of the dark of the moon. But we're not gonna get into the new moon this week. We're gonna get into the new moon next week. But right up into that, I've got a lot of energy that kind of echoes what Nikki was saying. I got the card "Come to the Edge," and I got from the goddesses. I actually got Ishtar, and I'm actually showing her in reverse because Ishtar is the energy of boundaries. And I feel like we're being asked to maybe take down some of these emotional walls with this new moon in Cancer, let our inner goddess out, the feeling part of ourselves, come to the edge, because we're ready for a breakthrough when it comes to our feelings. I've got the miser in reverse. Your feelings are jewels. They are, you know, our feelings are divine. They are divine signals. And like I said, a lot of times our mind gets up there and starts playing with the feelings that come through and kind of morphs them into another energy. But this is, I feel like, a call to express what you're really feeling. Even if your mind has, you know, played with it, the universe is saying, you're ready. Let the gorgeousness of who you really are come forward. You know, those who really love you can handle this energy. And I think, like Nikki always says, you know, this is a time like, don't give pearls to swine or whatever it is you say exactly. You know, really listen to yourself. Is this somebody who I can share with? Is this somebody who I can be open with? But this is part of like stepping into the goddess energy, is that energy of opening up your heart and being real about what you're really feeling. And the universe is saying, you're ready. This is a major breakthrough. Come to the edge. Come to the edge of your emotions. Be willing to feel. Be willing to cry. Be willing to laugh hysterically. I got the moment-to-moment card. So I think it's going to be like one moment, you know, you're crying, next minute you're laughing. And I've had that, you know, with people in my life that I trust. You know, you definitely will scale those energies. But be willing to feel. This new moon, you know, is in Cancer. This is really, really, really strong emotional energy. And it's clearing you out. I remember, I wish I had it right here, but the roomie, the guest house, one of my favorite things. It's like, be willing to feel every emotion that comes through. Treat it like a guest in your house because it's clearing you out for something else to come forward. So invite it in because it's important for you to process. And for a lot of us, because we kind of have maintained this patriarchal, like, robot energy, it really is. It feels like coming to the end. It feels scary. You know, it feels like jumping off a cliff. But the universe is like, you're ready for this. So be willing to dive forward. Dive in. Let your goddess speak, even if it's tough. Nikki?
Yeah, well, okay, so let me talk a little bit about what a new moon is good for. So as we build up for this new moon, it's really good to have strong intentions. And where you are is what you're creating. So this is a really good time to have conscious intentions in how you want to go about. And every time we have a new moon in a different sign, that's what the projected energy is for the rest of the year until it hits again. Well, I like to say it's to the new moon as well, the next new moon, because then you're in the next cycle. So this one's in Cancer. This is what I talked about. Cancer's so much heartfelt. It's so about emotions. It's so about mother energy. So if you had some abandonment issues with mama, this is what's coming up, and this is the peak wounding, right? So this is what I'm getting for it. Fork in the road. What are you going to show up for this new moon? Are you going to co-create and get past that wounding of the outsider? Are you going to allow yourself to feel victim to not fitting in when you were in your childhood, or not fitting in now, or nobody understands me, or blah, blah, blah? You could do that, but that's going to, the other fork in the road, chaos and conflict. Decide to co-create and move beyond that gate of the outsider and co-create again, or there will be clinging to the past and chaos and conflict. So are you ready to move on from these old, feeling like you don't fit in, feeling like you don't belong, feeling abandoned by people, feeling betrayed by people? Or share who you are authentically and have a new vision for your life, yourself, and the way that you want to be treated. That boundary card is also saying no to how you don't want to be treated anymore. When you say no to one thing, you say yes to something else. So now you might have to say, I, universe, feel like I'm done with being treated that way. I'm going to stop treating myself that way. And, you know, I'm getting a lot of like gay and lesbian energy in my head right now, of like being scared to share that part of yourself because you felt like, so just go with me on this one, because if you're not gay, it could be something that you felt ashamed of, like something that you truly are, the sharing card, to have the new vision about that. And I want to use this because we can all understand it. If you were a child, especially now, like being born in the 70s and 80s, or even before that, you weren't allowed as much to speak about it in school. And so you had a lot of repression from family members and all of these things. And so maybe you have a wounding of being scared to really express that nature. But now it's funny because I see a lot of teenagers that are being able to express that as a teenager. And I'm like, wow, this is going to be a very different generation that's a lot more comfortable in their skin. And maybe not have as much wounding. So you know, if you're going through that, if that's something in your life, know that you paved the way for a new generation to be more comfortable in their skin. But guess what? You don't have to live in that shame anymore. You can decide to let that go, co-create, and realize there's a lot of people out there that accept you and love you and understand you and will be not ever. I had a girl, a woman that is in a lesbian relationship, and she would get really upset if anybody would ask them questions. They had a child together. And I said, you know, you can think that they're against you. That's an old wounding. You can realize that they're asking questions. They don't understand and they want to know. They want to know your lifestyle. They want to connect. They're making connection. And by you taking offense to the question, you're putting up a wall and you're stopping the flow. You're stopping the understanding and you're stopping the love because the past wounding of somebody hurting you in the past. But realize when we ask questions, it's just because we're trying to understand your situation. So notice where you're doing that, where you close off or you take offense or you get defensive when there's no need to be defensive. It's because of an old past wounding, because maybe you were open before and they hit you, you got hit. But this time I'm getting there's a co-creation. And it, like Mimi said, and what I say, don't throw pearls to swine. Know who you can trust. Know who you can soften that heart to. But there is going to be an opportunity to heal this coming this new moon in Cancer. You can heal this heart, this old wounding, and you can be accepted for who you are now.
Beautiful. I love that. I feel like that takes it full circle back to that Chiron retrograde energy that we started, that we had on Monday, all the way back then. So, full circle.
Oh my God, this was a long one. I'm sorry, you guys. I hope you hung in there, and we had a lot of stuff, but a lot of good information came out. And if you really listen to this, take this as a session. Like I do coaching sessions and Mimi does healing sessions. Listen to this. If this is resonating with you, think of it as a conversation and let it sink in, absorb, because there was a lot of healing information in there that you can start unraveling some of that old wounding.
Absolutely, definitely. And outside of this session that you just got, Nicole and I both, have sales. We both do you're doing weekly now. I do my daily. She does a weekly thing now. I have a sale up right now, 6 readings for the price of 5. And so this is for the people who want to get with me on a monthly basis, who really want to know how the Astro is affecting you. Because we have the new moon in Cancer, so we know it's feelings for everybody. But depending where it is in your chart, what house it falls in, any other planets interacting with it, it brings a unique energy with it to you. And so it's like kind of a snapshot month to month, how you can really work with that energy. So it's a great deal if you want that kind of monthly attention. It helps get to know you. It helps get to know your cycles. It helps you to learn the astrology, because that's one of the best ways is just dive in and start paying attention to the astro cycles. So I have that going. Nikki, do you want to talk about your stuff?
Yeah, I'm going to stop my reading special this week. So if you wanted a tarot reading, I'm going to go up a little bit higher in the price, but I'm going to be doing a different special. So on Tuesdays at 6 o'clock Eastern Mountain Standard Time, I do a Facebook Live reading. So if you wanted to try to get a free reading, that's a way to connect with me. But the special I'm going to be doing, because I've been seeing a lot of people needing this, especially in this Cancer energy, there's 2 things I've been getting a lot of. Cord cuttings. So cutting old cords of ties that no longer serve you. And that takes about a half an hour, and I'm going to do those for 50, and they're usually 75. And I'm going to do DNA activations, and that's an hour. And then we can also pull some cards within that hour. A DNA activation, what it does is we have all these amazing things in our DNA, but we also have a lot of karma in our DNA. So what I do is I go and we go in together and I activate your DNA. And so a lot of your dormant gifts can start coming out. You can get more into your life purpose, and you can start unraveling some karmic ties and a lot of lineage ties. Some old conditioned behaviors we're doing, not just conditioned from the childhood, but a lot of times genetically we can be conditioned in that certain way. And sometimes they're great conditioned behaviors, and sometimes they're not. And so this will unravel it. This will help you process. It is a bit of a process. So, it does take a cycle of about a week, 2-3 weeks for you to start. But some people feel great right away, and then some people process. So I never know what's going to happen. But I want to offer those because Spirit is telling me right now that cutting old past ties, cord cuttings, are very important right now, and activating people's DNA so they start waking up, they start opening up to their purpose, their gifts, and not remaining in fear, but really moving forward in a life that they truly desire, because that's where we're going on the planet. And as we start getting closer and closer to this election, we need to get in more alignment with who we want to be, and not this old patriarch society that there's still an option. Trump is really mirroring a patriarch. And now I know Hillary's not maybe the greatest option in the world. She's still feminine. She's kind of feminine, but she has an interesting, she's got a vagina. And
She
so
gave
that, what?
Gave birth.
She did. She gave birth. She's mother. So she has this enough feminine energy to bring more of a feminine in leadership in the way that America needs it right now, because we're not all evolved on the planet. So we need to get in alignment. We need to get in alignment because we don't want to go back to dark ages.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
So you can purchase that on NicoleOman.com. Yeah, your readings.
Yeah.
Your activations and cord cuttings. Mine's GaiaBlooming.com. You can find all of our work on Gaia Blooming on the Facebook page, or Nicole Oman on Facebook. And I think that's it. Do you have anything else to say?
No, I feel complete. I feel like spirit really worked. So,
Yeah, that's amazing.
you know what? It's long. I know this one was long, but really, if you need a little help beyond, watching it once, go back, listen to it again. I feel like spirit really came through, so you can get that vibration through us as well, just by listening to it. You don't even have to listen to the words. Get into that vibration, because that's the permission slip to allow spirit and our guidance system and our guides and the masters that work through us to come in and go, hey, I need help right now. Oh, good. Put it on. Let Nikki and Mimi's higher self work. Because they will. They work all the time. Right? That's why I'm so tired all the time.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We love you so much, and have a beautiful week. Namaste.
Namaste.